From the NewsTalkSTL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Former U.S. Senator John Danforth endorsed Mark Mantovani for county executive yesterday and called him a uniter. The St. Louis County Republican Central Committee picked Mantovani on Monday night to fill in for primary winner Catherine Pinner, who dropped out of the race. The Brentwood mayor announced that Manchester Road over Black Creek just west of Hanley Road will reopen on Monday, but lane restrictions for the pedestrian tunnel will remain in place until October 31st. After years of construction, Merchants Bridge, which is located just north of McKinley Bridge, reopened yesterday. There was almost a decade of planning and advocacy and 4 years of construction put into the $222 million project, which doubles the bridge's capacity. A website called My Dating Advisor has ranked St. Louis as the fourth most unfaithful city in the U.S. based on relationship satisfaction, life satisfaction, infidelity intent, and affair activities. 3 cities in Texas ranked first, second, and third. And in sports, WashU Orthopedics announced yesterday that it will be the St. Louis City SC's official health partner. As part of the relationship, the team's new training facility will be called the Washington University Orthopedics High Performance Center, and BJC Healthcare will provide medical services to the soccer club. And the Cardinals fell to the Reds 3-2 at Busch last night. The two teams play again tonight at 7:15 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more,
from the NewsTalkSTL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your first alert forecast. Mostly sunny today with a high of 87 degrees. That is 6 degrees above average. Clear skies tonight will drop to 67. Saturday, another mostly sunny and dry day, even hotter with an afternoon high of 88. Sunday, mostly sunny, hot, humid, a high of 92 degrees with about a 20% chance for a few showers and thunderstorms. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. Tony Colombo.
Libertarianism is
to help get you in the home stretch of this Friday afternoon and get you comfortably
into the weekend.
Almost
the freaking weekend.
Yes. Informed on everything that you need to know to then unplug.
Which
maybe
we need.
For a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Been a busy week.
That.
A lot going on in this crazy, crazy world. Got another great show for you today. It being Friday, we will try to, and I am dedicated to it today to make sure we have a little Friday fun time. Lately, even on Friday afternoons, there's been so much going on that we haven't been able to focus on having a little Friday fun time at the end of the show. We're going to do that today, so definitely keep it here for that. Also, of course, it being Friday means we will get the weekend forecast from our friends over at KMOV Channel 4. Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton will join us. So looking forward to that. It sounds like maybe one last hurrah for summer this weekend. I think it's going to be pretty toasty.
Let it be.
Pretty
Let
warm.
it be for this last hurrah.
Yeah.
And
maybe it won't be the last hurrah. Maybe.
I think it is supposed to be pretty toasty.
No, I know, but I mean, maybe there's
another
more heat. Yeah. But I think it's definitely supposed to be a pretty warm weekend. So we'll get all the details about that from Steve Templeton in about 40 minutes from now. 245, 250, somewhere in that range. We will bring you that weekend forecast. And in a few minutes, we will talk to Mark Lauder, Chief Communications Officer at the America First Policy Institute, former Special Assistant to President Trump. Lots to talk to Mark about. One of them I want to talk to him specifically about because he has such a close relationship and connection with former President Trump. The story that we did yesterday about Josh Hawley, our senator here in Missouri, of course, and him telling reporters that not only does he think that Donald Trump is going to run for president in 2024, Josh Hawley said that he believes that Donald Trump will be the nominee for the party and that there really won't be much of a competition, which I don't know if that means
He knows
doesn't,
something?
yeah.
Or
I don't know if that means he doesn't think that Ron DeSantis or somebody else is going to run against him, like they're just not going to, or he thinks that somebody might run against him, but they don't stand a chance. But, I don't know exactly what he meant by he doesn't expect it to be much of a competition, but super interesting to hear a United States senator, one that is usually very careful with his words, in front of reporters publicly, to say that, I think Trump is running. I think he'll be our nominee, and I don't even think it'll really be much of a contest.
and take into account that Trump and Josh Hawley do have a relationship. Do we know the extent of the relationship? I'm not sure.
Exactly.
Do we know the closeness of it? No. But we do know that they have a relationship, and we also know that Josh Hawley has been very outspoken about January 6th and about how horrible people have been to Trump and Trump's family with January 6th and
Right.
blaming Trump and blaming his family for what happened that day.
Mm-hmm.
So does he have inside scoop? Could be.
Yeah.
Could
yeah.
be.
And another person that has that close relationship, and if anybody would have that inside scoop, it would be Mark Lauder. And so definitely the right guy to ask about that. And, of course, we'll talk to him about a lot of the different stories, different headlines in the news today. One of which, of course, the big story of probably the week, certainly the last few days, has been the saga of the migrants being bussed across the country.
Love it. This is I'm living
Chicago,
for the drama.
Martha's Vineyard, New York, all the places that they have gone. One interesting part of this has been, I can't say the reaction, the non-reaction from Vice President Kamala Harris. Have you seen any of this week with her regarding this issue?
Just a little bit.
Vice President Harris has ignored the question on migrants arriving outside her residence. That was another place that they were sent, by the way. After her secure border claim. Remember, she was the one last weekend on national television with Chuck Todd telling the country that the border was secure. And as like literally on the same day as pictures of people walking across the border and being dropped over border fences in the cover of night, decked out in camo, like human traffickers dropping people over fences. That
Yeah, you can't deny that.
all those pictures and videos came out at the same time that she was doing that interview and said the border was secure. Vice President Kamala Harris refused to comment yesterday, Thursday, on the 2 migrant buses from Del Rio, Texas, that arrived outside her residence at the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. just hours earlier. Over 100 people who were picked up in Eagle Pass, Texas, were sent by Governor Greg Abbott. The group includes migrants from Venezuela, Uruguay, Colombia, and Mexico. Multiple migrants asked by reporters said that they think the border is open. So they were being interviewed. These migrants that were getting off the bus were being interviewed by reporters, and they were telling people that when they were traveling and had arrived at the southern border, they said that they did so because it's their understanding that it's open, that this is okay. It's a much different understanding than I think you and I have, or citizens of America have.
Oh,
But the rest of the world, or at least
think about when this first began, and when President Biden took over office, the administration was in full effect, full swing, and we saw migrants coming to our border wearing President Biden shirts. And we saw them wearing, like, thank God for President Biden shirts that they made just to journey across to our southern border. And during that time period, at the infancy of whenever the border started to become incredibly crowded, Biden and the administration still were denying at that point that anything had been going on, that they were promoting people to cross the border, that they were advocating for open borders. When you had immigrants crossing saying, thank God for President Biden.
And apparently that's
t-shirts.
still the message down at the border and in communities south of the United States that
Come on.
that the border is open. And that's why many of these people are traveling here. It's exactly what they told reporters.
And you know what? Sorry, Tony, just to add one more thing.
You're good.
The illegal immigrants that are being interviewed and are saying these things aren't Democrat or Republican. They don't have a political party.
No.
They're just saying, this is what we know. This is what we have heard, and we are here at the border, and it seems open to us.
That's why we're here.
They have there's no reason for them to lie or manipulate for a political party for political gain.
Right.
That's just what is happening.
Great point. You're exactly right. They're just answering the question. Hey, why are you here? Why did you trek your family or what to the border? Because it's our understanding that
Because we can.
the border's open and we can come in. This is yesterday again. As the vice president walked out of the East Room following her remarks, a White House pool of reporters were there, and she was asked for a comment on the recent arrival of migrants near her D.C. residence. Harris stopped, looked at the reporter, and then started walking again.
Oh.
So she acknowledged she can't even say, I didn't hear the question.
She heard it.
She acknowledged that she heard the question. She just stopped, looked, and kept walking. That was yesterday. Today, the vice president again ignored a question about the arrival of migrants near her Washington, D.C. residence. Harris appeared in front of reporters today with the South African president, but ignored a reporter's shouted question on her reaction to the buses. Quote, what was your reaction to the buses arriving yesterday? A pool reporter asked the vice president, to which she just turned and walked away.
And this is our border czar. This is the vice president.
Twice, 2 days in a row.
It is her job. It is her job. Biden has given her that task.
Yes.
To do something about the border. And 2 times in a row, it has been recorded that she heard the question.
Just flat ignored it.
And said, I'm gonna head this way. I'm gonna go this way still.
I want to do a flip test and say, can you imagine if Donald Trump were to do something like that? But I can't even conjure up the image of Donald Trump. Not like he answered too many questions.
He did.
He would, in a great way. He could, you could, if he heard the question shouted from 100 yards away while he's standing under the helicopter, he's shouting back an answer.
I had to ask you this because I don't think I got to ask you this yesterday. And what is your thoughts on this drama of Ron DeSantis putting these illegal migrants in Martha's Vineyard, and then Governor Greg Abbott sending them to places in New York, and people say, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was about to ask you the same question, because not only have we seen all that with the vice president, of course, like you said, Martha's Vineyard, they put out the Martha Vineyard Chambers of Commerce released an update today, like a report on what they labeled a humanitarian crisis. The 50 people that showed up has created a humanitarian crisis at Martha's Vineyard. And you're exactly right. And the argument has been that Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis are using human beings as political pawns. And I completely understand that argument if you are looking at it from the standpoint of the last week. If your knowledge of the situation at the border is is only a week old, then I could see you saying, why are they doing this? Why are they sending people around the country? They're using humans as political pawns. The truth is that they've been used. Humans at the southern border have been used as political pawns for years.
Yeah,
and
since the
Democrats
beginning of this.
have been doing this for years and getting away with it. And I don't like it at all. I don't like the idea of people walking across the border, getting put on planes or buses and sent out I don't like any of it.
Mm-hmm.
But this didn't just start happening. This has been a problem. And to Greg Abbott's point, people, are saying, he's the one, that took it to this next level. He put out a statement this week saying that border towns in Texas, they're overwhelmed. There's nowhere else to go.
No.
They can't. For years it's just been a border state problem. People in Chicago and New York and Martha's Vineyard, they never had to worry about it. It wasn't on their doorstep. It's been on the doorstep of those border communities for years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's and they're overwhelmed. We were doing stories recently about, all the stores that have been broken into in those border communities over the last year, how crime is way up, and how just all of the problems that they have been experiencing due almost solely because there's so many people there. So there's nowhere else to go.
There is nowhere else to go. And for me, I know I always say, I love this strategy. And the reason why I love this strategy is because, yes, you are correct. Both Democrat and now Republicans are using this as a political tool. And I totally get that. But if you don't believe the illegal migrants that are trying to get into this country are also playing their own version of politics with coyotes getting kids to come across the border, coyotes getting drugs.
Who's the one spreading the word that the border's open? How is that happening?
This is something that
that's a political. There's political motivation behind that too.
And
there are people that want this crisis.
Absolutely.
Because they can politically take advantage of it. And that is using human beings as pawns in a big way.
And I think whenever I say I love instances like this, it's because first, Republicans are acting. They're acting. They're not just talking. It's not word vomit. They are taking action. And I love when Republicans do that, when they don't sit on the sidelines, when they actually do something that they say they're going to do. But I also think that this is a very good place to put a mirror in front of a Democrat like Lori Lightfoot and say, you have been promoting that you are a sanctuary city. You have been promoting that you are totally okay with illegal migrants coming into this country, coming into Chicago if need be. Well, if you are okay with that and you want to be considered as a sanctuary city,
that's great.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Then you can deal with the repercussions of your actions, of what you have promoted and said. And if you can't handle it, then all of America can see that you can't handle it. There's no hiding away from it, which Lori Lightfoot is now coming out saying this is the federal government's job to step in and take these illegal migrants from Chicago and put them back somewhere else so that she doesn't have to deal with it. But whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent or apolitical, you have to look at these leaders who have been telling you one thing and rallying around it as a voting tool. And then when it happens, they have to say, we can't handle this.
Yeah. Chicago and New York
do it.
have had at most, a few dozen buses at most?
I think so.
So at most, a few hundred people?
Yeah.
Martha's Vineyard has had about 50 people show up, and they call it a humanitarian crisis.
Martha's Vineyard.
We're talking about thousands, hundreds, tens of thousands of people flooding all these border cities for years. So you want to grandstand and try to look like this hero by
that's what it
making you're making your city a sanctuary city because you want to make it sound good and you want to, have all that flowery condescension
Kumbaya.
and grandstanding. But as soon as the border towns go, oh, sanctuary city, thank goodness, because we don't have any more room. So
Take it.
you want them? You're the sanctuary cities. You said that this is where they have a home and they can be safe. So great, send them to the sanctuary cities. And then you go, oh, we can't handle this. What are you doing? You can't do this. Like you can't have it both ways,
No.
Lori Lightfoot.
But I love to see it. I love to see it. And I love to see it from people like Ron DeSantis, who is like, yep, I'm sending them to Martha's Vineyard. I am like, what? And this is only moving Ron DeSantis up in the book.
Right.
This is only making him more of a plausible, undeniable force for the Republican Party that is just boosting his credentials when he says, yeah, I'm sending migrants to Martha's Vineyard.
And as and to tie it all together, and we'll talk to Mark Lauder about all this stuff in a minute, he's building his name recognition. He's building his credibility, I guess, with Republicans. And I mean, you'd certainly think in any other year, you'd look at what he's doing and think that he's definitely
The dude.
putting together his presidential campaign. But then there's Donald Trump. And then there's Josh Hawley saying that he thinks that Trump's going to run and there will be no competition. So it just doesn't all add up, right? So we'll talk to Mark Lauder about those things and more in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Colombo and Katie. Like us on Facebook at NewsTalkSTL. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
As we were just talking about, it's supposed to be a very warm weekend. Summer not quite gone from the St. Louis area yet. And then, of course, we'll be making that transition into the cooler temperatures. If you have any issues during that transition period, keeping your home comfortable, whether it is with the air conditioning or the heating, you need to call our friends at Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. Agers' number one priority is doing right by the customer. So, again, I've had it happen. It just happened to me 2 or 3 winters ago. The first time we turned on the furnace in, September, October, or whenever it was, first time that season, turned on the furnace, nothing happened. No heat came out of the vents. And I called Agers and they took care of it. And it was a lifesaver. If you are experiencing any issues with your system in any way, don't wait. Don't let what could be a simple problem turn into a bigger problem. Call Agers. They'll come out. They will let you know exactly what's going on and let you know all the different options you have to address that problem. If you're looking to put in a new system, Agers will come to your house with the mobile showroom, which nobody else has. You don't go anywhere. The mobile showroom shows up and you're at the front of your house. You get to go out. It's nice enough to live in this thing, and you can see, operate, learn about all the different systems, all the different options that you can put in your home. So again, you're armed with that information and able to make the best decision for your home, for your family, and for your budget. So whether it be repairs or replacement, Agers is the place to call. Learn more on their website, callagers.com. It's AGERS, callagers.com.
Do you live in West St. Louis County? Then you can get West News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. West News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. West News Magazine. Anybody who wants it, gets it. Anybody who gets it, wants it. Subscribe for free today. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kenny Zhu, president of Color Us United.
Race became a profitable industry. That's what happened. Racial victimhood. We all believe in civil rights, but then there are people who actually profit off of racial victimhood in this country. Diversity, equity, and inclusion right now, the new hot thing in companies is a 10 billion plus industry.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Chris, Katie and I will have a fantastic Friday. Zach Smith at 4:25. Dr. Aaron Hedlund on Joe Biden's Inflation Inferno at 5:25.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
It's 9 more miles to heaven. I'll be home with you. 9 more miles to heaven. I won't stop till I get there. I'm on this lonely road from Nashville to St. Louis.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Joining us on the show again this afternoon is the Chief Communications Officer at the America First Policy Institute, former Special Assistant to President Donald Trump. Mark Lauder is with us once again, and we always appreciate your time. Mark, thanks for joining us today. How's it going? Uh-oh. See, we've been messing with the phones lately, and that's what happened. Mark, yeah, I got you now, I think.
Yeah, I got walk-on music.
Yeah, I know, right?
Not very exciting walk-on music.
Yeah, sorry about that, but we got you connected now. How's it going? Really appreciate your time, as always.
Oh, no, happy to join you. I'm calling from Big D in Dallas. I just got here.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
going to be doing a television program later tonight on election integrity.
Yeah, well, you know what? You are right. If you're in Texas, obviously right on the front lines of the biggest story of the week, an ongoing obvious issue that is going to play a big role in the midterm elections. What is your thoughts? What do you make of the last, couple of weeks of this border discussion, and now, DeSantis and Abbott bringing Chicago and New York and Martha's Vineyard and making, forcing these other communities to deal with something that border communities have been dealing with for years? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think it just goes to show you that these Democrats in these Democrat-run cities and states that they love to put out their moral bumper stickers about how they're sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, but when they actually have to deal with it, then they cry wolf. They beg for mercy. They beg for the federal government to step in, and as opposed to stepping in to help solve the problem in Martha's Vineyard or California or D.C., how about you beg them to stop the flow of illegal immigrants into our country in the first place?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean that if one thing, if there's one good thing that comes out of all of this, and this is a tragic situation for so many reasons, but if there is one good thing, it is that people that have been able to dodge the issue and skirt it and make it not about their city or their part of the country, and just try to say the right things and sound like, social justice warriors and that type of thing, is that now they're forced to deal with it. And they're forced to not only deal with it, but they're forced to show the people in those parts of the country that they are elected by how they react and how they deal with this stuff. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you didn't hear any of this whining and complaining when the Biden administration was flying migrants or busing migrants in the middle of the night into Florida or into other parts of the country. But as soon as these Republican governors say enough, here's a sample of what we have to deal with. I mean, let's think about this. This is 50 immigrants, illegal aliens. that were dropped off
Yeah.
at Martha's Vineyard, and they're like declaring a state of emergency.
Humanitarian crisis.
50. More than 50 cross every single hour into Texas, and even so. I mean, come on. It just really goes to show you. And then, of course, you have the White House press secretary and the vice president standing up and actually saying the border is secure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, these people, whatever they say, you should just assume the exact opposite. An inflation reduction bill that's actually increasing inflation. The border is not secure, despite what they say. We are in a recession, despite them trying to redefine it. It's just mind-boggling, and no one calls them out for it.
Mark, that's exactly the question I wanted to ask you. I saw that Jean-Pierre, either today or yesterday, when she was asked about the border, she said that the border is secure and Vice President Kamala Harris is continuing to work on the border to make sure that it's secure. What kind of work is the administration actually doing to control the border? And how far can the administration go? How long can they last with trying to beat that drum and not think that anyone's going to question them on it?
Well, and Chad Wolf, the former acting Homeland Security Secretary, works with me over at the American First Policy Institute, and he said it really well. He's like, the difference between the Trump administration and the Biden administration is the Biden administration views the border as a processing problem. We have to process more people quickly into the country, get them in here, get them relocated, and of course they'll disappear and never come back for their court hearings and those kinds of things. The Trump administration viewed the border problem as a don't even come here in the first place. Stop before you get here. Stop in Mexico. If you actually have a legitimate claim, we'll hear you out, but we're doing it in Mexico, or we're going to do it in your country of origin, not doing it once we release you into the middle part of America to be never seen or heard from again. And that's the fundamental problem. And we've already figured it out that just this year alone, 850,000 people that we know of are gotaways. So they got away. That doesn't even count the millions of people who run up to the Border Patrol and turn themselves in so they can get their paperwork and their bus ticket to somewhere else.
I'm glad you brought that up, specifically the part about during the Trump administration, how it was known that the border was closed. And so it wasn't just a problem at the border. The problem, wasn't as bad at the border because people weren't coming to the border because that message had gotten out there. One of the really interesting things in this story, and we just talked about it in the first segment, is that a lot of these migrants, as they have been interviewed by reporters as they get off the buses, and they've been asked, why did you come? And they have said, because we were told that the border is open. Mm-hmm. It's our understanding that the border is open. That's not like, they're not just making assumptions. That message spreads through the border area and down into those communities purposefully. And it's been proven by the Trump administration that you can change that message. But obviously, that message has not been changed. It's a different message to the American people. But isn't that a clear signal that the Biden administration, the Democrats, are not making sure that message is spread through southern communities to stop the flow of people even coming to the border?
And even then, taking your point a little bit further, I mean, all of these migrants who are illegally streaming into our country, as soon as they get settled, relocated, what do? They're going to call back to their family. They're going to call back to their friends in their home countries and say, look, I made it. Come on in. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that bad. Or, pay the cartels, pay the coyotes, do whatever. But, it's even more scary. And this is something that, we've heard from so many border protection agents and that they have told us, is that when the migrants are coming across now, they used to run away. But now they're running up to the Border Patrol agents, wanting to be taken into custody so they can spend their 24 to 72 hours, being processed, getting their COVID shots, all that kind of stuff that we provide to them for free. But what they're also doing is tying up the resources of the Border Patrol, because while they're all rushing over in one spot, the cartels and the gangs are running drugs in another spot where those Border Patrol agents aren't, because they're so busy dealing with this flood of humanity. And that's where your fentanyl's coming in. That's where all your other drugs and things that are killing so many people across our country. That's how that's streaming into the border.
Talking to Mark Lauder, of course, Chief Communications Officer at the America First Policy Institute, former special assistant to President Donald Trump. And glad to have you on this week for this reason as well, because this perked my ears. Story came out yesterday, and we talked about it. One of our senators here in the state of Missouri, Josh Hawley, who is typically very careful with his words and doesn't accidentally say something to the press or publicly that he doesn't mean, made a very interesting comment when he was asked about the 2024 presidential election. He was asked about Donald Trump and whether he thought President Trump would run or not. And he said that he did believe that Donald Trump would run. He also said that he believed that Donald Trump would be the Republican nominee. And then he also said that he didn't think it would be much of a competition, which that's the part that really stood out to me from a very careful United States senator, Republican senator, to, we're all playing the guessing game of, I think a lot of people are starting to assume that Donald Trump is going to run, but certainly, that announcement hasn't come yet. But obviously a lot of discussion about whether or not Ron DeSantis will run, if there will be stiff competition. So for Josh Hawley to say he thinks Trump will run, he thinks Trump will be the nominee, and he doesn't think it'll be much of a fight is very interesting to me. Very few people have a closer connection or know how the former president works. I don't know if you saw that comment, but I'd love to know what your reaction to what Senator Hawley said this week.
Yeah, well, and so first off, let me tell you, the America First Policy Institute where I work, we're nonpartisan, nonprofit.
Sure.
So taking off of that hat, going into my own personal background and experience.
Yes, exactly.
Don't get us in trouble with the IRS.
You got it, exactly.
But I think Senator Hawley's right. I mean, all the polling that I have seen from multiple sources, have indicated that should the former president run, he is the overwhelming favorite for the nomination. And I don't think anyone could really mount a serious challenge, especially when you look at his fundraising prowess. Obviously, the energy that he still generates out there on the trail. I think he's got a rally. I think tomorrow night in Ohio. He'll be in North Carolina, and you still see thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people lining up for hours, standing out in horrible, hot, rainy weather to listen to this man speak. And I heard him, a couple of months ago. We had him back in D.C. He sounds like someone who's going to run. He hasn't made that decision yet and hasn't announced it. But when he does, I think that completely changes the narrative and the way the field shapes up. And I really don't see, short of, something, unexpected happening, I wouldn't see anyone being able to put a serious challenge to him. And then the question is, are you running to defeat him or are you running to be his running mate?
Mm-hmm.
Mark, I have a question about President Trump and the possibility of him running. Do you think the things that have happened in this Mar-a-Lago raid with the FBI coming into his home, do you think that has deterred any Trump voters or any Republicans from voting for Trump if he ran again in 2024, or do you think that has only amplified the appeal of Donald Trump and his mission?
I think it's actually amplified it. And I'll give you a great example of why I think that. Because when you look at all of the likely people who have said that they might be running or rumored to be running against him, Mike Pence, Mike Pompeo, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, none of them have come out and attacked him on it. And that's because the energy in the base, there are, I think, a lot of people who may have been, I love his policies, I love the results, but wow, I'm tired, or I didn't like the tweets or whatever. This reminded them of the two-tier justice system we have in America, that what's fine for Hillary Clinton is not fine for Donald Trump. Can you imagine if any of the things that Hunter Biden had been accused of Don Jr. or Eric or Ivanka? My God, it would have been. They'd already been in chains right now, and yet they're getting a complete free pass. And I think that angers people. And even if they don't like the tweets, now they're more a little bit justified. Well, I understand why he's angry. I understand why he says he's going to drain the swamp. Look what they have done to this man. They accused us of colluding with Russia. They were the ones that actually went out and hired somebody from Russia to bred that fake Russiagate narrative. That's actually been proven.
Yeah.
The things that they are accusing us of are the things that they do themselves. Much like what we were talking about earlier. Whatever they say, just assume the exact opposite is true.
Russia collusion proven. Hunter Biden laptop, which was, dismissed as a false or exaggerated story, has been proven. All the reports on that were right, and you're exactly right. No price is paid for those lies, but we have federal agents kicking down the door of a former United States president, and I think you're
and also one thing I will just point out is that they conducted this raid supposedly for classified documents that were locked in a facility that's guarded by the Secret Service. Hillary Clinton's was on a server, and there was credible information that server had been compromised, possibly by foreign intelligence officials or foreign influences. His was locked in a room.
That is such a great point that I didn't even think
they
of.
Actually asked him to put a bigger lock on it, and he did.
A residence that is guarded by the Secret Service was still they still felt it necessary to send agents to basically kick the door down. I didn't even think about it that way. It's such a great point.
And one other point on that: if they were worried that he was going to do something with those documents, he wasn't even there. He's been in New Jersey since Memorial Day.
Almost out of time here with Mark Lauder, but you mentioned, Mark, that you currently are in Dallas. You have an event tonight with the America First Policy Institute. Tell us about that event, and tell us about generally what the organization is working on as we are now in the home stretch to these midterm elections.
Yeah, well, tonight is a televised roundtable hosted by a national television network talking about election integrity. But we've also we're announcing a bus tour across America, the America First Agenda, where we're going to talk about those 10 basic things that need to be done to get back to those America First principles. We'll be in Ohio. We'll be in Pennsylvania. We're going to be all over the place over the next 6, 7, 8 weeks. Also doing town halls. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio last week doing a town hall in Cincinnati. So we're all over the place helping America First candidates talk about the policies that are going to get our country back going right in the right direction again, whether it's getting gas prices down and inflation, securing the border, secure elections, the whole gamut. We've got a policy ready to go for it.
AmericaFirstPolicy.com to learn more, and obviously very busy time for you, Mark, so we really appreciate your time as always and look forward to talking to you again very, very soon.
Absolutely look forward to it.
You bet. Mark Lauder there on Colombo and Katie. Coming up, more headlines to dive into. Friday fun time coming up in the 3 o'clock hour, and we will get the weekend forecast from our friends over at KMOV Channel 4. Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton joins us next on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I'm on this lonely road from Nashville to St. Louis. I'm driving as fast as I can because I want to get home to you.
Colombo and Katie, the new faces of talk radio. Follow us on Rumble at NewsTalkSTL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Listen to this noise coming out of the White House.
Live and local.
We need to get the message to people who are not being helped by Democrats.
Ron DeSantis showed people the back of his hand.
This is News Talk STL.
It is the best time of the year, in my opinion, to be taking advantage of being outside and all those great outdoor activities, one which, of course, is grilling. If you are going to be grilling this weekend or anytime, as we'll be out there a whole lot at the Colombo House out on the back deck grilling, make sure you have the best charcoal available, and that, of course, is Rockwood Lump Charcoal, which is all made right here in the St. Louis area. Rockwood Lump Charcoal is a local business. They are also ranked and have been for 8 or 9 years running now, ranked the #1 consumer ranked charcoal in the country. Absolutely incredible. So you're supporting a local business, you are using the best product, and Rockwood Lump Charcoal is available in over 100 area stores. Lump Charcoal is just superior to begin with. I will not use anything else. I love using Rockwood for everything. It just burns. It burns faster. It burns cleaner. You can control the heat. You can control the taste. You can. It just is a superior product. If you've never used lump charcoal before, check out Rockwood. I guarantee you will not go back to using anything else. Again, find the closest store that carries Rockwood charcoal to you and pick up some grilling tips and tricks, all at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
The Range St. Louis West is Missouri's best indoor shooting range. With 20 climate-controlled lanes, over 70 firearms available to rent, and the best staff in the business, you're guaranteed to enjoy every minute of your time with us. Our impressive showroom is full of the latest and greatest offerings from the best manufacturers in the business. Need an optic, spare magazines, holster, or any other accessory? Let our professional staff help you find exactly what you need and get it installed for you. Mention you heard us on NewsTalkSTL and save $100 on your membership and enjoy even more goodies. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
Stay top of mind with your customers, stand out from the competition, and drive productivity with a podcast for your business from Epic STL Podcasts. Log on to NewsTalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield. Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time, we're in harmony. Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time, we're in
harmony. Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL. It is a Friday afternoon, and as we do every Friday at this time, it is time to check in with our friends at KMOV Channel 4. Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton here to bring us that weekend forecast. Steve, as always, thanks for your time. How's it going?
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's going pretty good. We got a big weekend. I mean, there's a lot going on. Geez, there's festivals all over the place. Great Forest Park Balloon Race. There's Cardinal games. So we got a lot going on. I think for the most part, you'll like the weather. It is going to be a little bit toasty. We're experiencing that a little bit today. We're just kind of easing into this warmer weather. So it's a little warmer today, and we've got a warm early on evening, turning mild in the 70s later on. So for Friday Night Football, Balloon Glow, whatever it is this evening, it's going to be dry and turning mild. By tomorrow, temperature 67 in the morning, though, 89 in the afternoon. So it's definitely getting a little more toasty, partly to mostly sunny, and staying dry. Now, Sunday, I have a slight chance for an isolated shower or storm in the morning. Best chance is north, so not everyone's going to get it, but just a heads up, might see a quick shower or storm Sunday morning. Otherwise, 91 for the high and more humid on Sunday as well. So feeling, a little more like summer weather, and it still technically is summer. Fall doesn't start until Thursday of next week.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's a good little reminder that technically summer is still here in St. Louis. So
he keeps saying that, Steve.
90 degrees.
He keeps telling me that, Steve.
Katie was.
I won't believe it.
Katie insists that summer ends on Labor Day.
It's time to go. It's time to exit summer, Steve.
It's going to be a little shock to your system then, Katie, when we hit 96 on Tuesday.
No! Dear God, no!
Still summer, Katie.
No! I'm telling you, Steve, I am too pregnant for it to be 96 degrees outside.
Too pregnant.
I'm too pregnant for this weather right now. I'm a human furnace.
Now I feel bad. No, I feel bad. Oh,
Come on,
man.
Steve.
Yeah, but I mean, it does. It definitely feels. It definitely. I mean, that's going to feel hot, and it's going to seem to stand out. But it's not really that crazy, right? To have temperatures in the 90s at this time of year. I mean, it's just kind of St. Louis.
So temperatures in the 90s, no. In fact, from this Saturday on through the rest of the year, we average about 2 days in the 90s. So on average, you get 2 more days in the 90s. The latest 90-degree temperature, by the way, October 30th. But that's an anomaly. We hopefully won't rival that. But, you know, to get to 95, 96, and we're going to have several days. I mean, I have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all in the 90s.
Oh,
so that's a little mini hot stretch there for a late surge of summer heat.
No kidding.
My goodness.
Mostly dry as far as you can tell, or will there be some rain in that too early next week?
Mostly dry. The only 2 chances I see for rain are going to be that Sunday morning shower storm I mentioned, best chance near north of St. Louis. And then Monday morning, a similar situation, isolated shower storm. It's not going to rain all day, not wash out stuff. But, you know, Sunday morning, Monday morning, maybe a quick shower storm.
Can you tell us anything about is it officially a hurricane? Fiona is tropical storm hitting Puerto Rico. I think it's either going to be a hurricane or it is a hurricane. Can you tell us what's going on with that situation?
I haven't studied up on that. I've actually been focused too much on our
I get it.
and getting ready for balloon glow, Cardinals. And
I get it. I get it.
So I have not studied up on that.
But are we getting into that hurricane season? Are we going to start seeing these things popping up in the news? Is going to be part of the discussion over the next couple months?
Most definitely. Late August through September tends to be kind of the peak of it, and the peak of hurricane season has started late this year. So I think we're going to rapidly start to see more and more named storms. It goes typically through the end of November. And the reason why is because in order to fuel hurricanes, you need warm water. And typically by the time you get to December and January, the Atlantic Ocean and Gulf of Mexico waters aren't warm enough to support a hurricane. Now, every once in a while, you do get one a little past, late November and into December, but that's a rarity. But that's why it's typically through the end of November for hurricane season.
Great stuff. Thank you, as always. Steve Templeton, Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 4. Always appreciate your time, and we will talk to you same time next week, my friend.
My pleasure. Hang in there, Katie.
Thank you, Steve.
I'm a human furnace.
The words of encouragement that I need from Steve Templeton.
Thanks, Steve. Talk to you soon. That's great stuff. Steve Templeton, Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 4. Always appreciate what the weather team does for us over there every day, giving us the keeping you up to speed on everything happening with the forecast. And then, of course, this is, for me, like I look forward to this segment every single week.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is the one you want to make sure you have on the calendar every Friday afternoon. We get that weekend forecast from Steve Templeton or somebody from the weather team over there at Channel 4. Want to remind you real quick that we have a brand new show starting tonight right here on News Talk STL. For the first time in the history of this radio station, we are making a change to the weekday lineup. We've had JT, Jason Thornton, from Pocket Watchin' from JT, which has been Pocket Watchin' with JT, which has been a YouTube channel for the last year or so. 60,000 YouTube subscribers, very successful live stream on YouTube, and now will also be a radio show every Friday night. And tonight it starts for the very first time. You will get a lot of great entertainment and a lot of great information, particularly when it comes to the financial issues of the day. Jason is a CFP. He is he works in the finance industry, so he has the knowledge to back up what he's saying, and he has some great conversation and debates with the callers. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And it all starts tonight at 8 o'clock and going forward every Friday, 8 o'clock. Don't go anywhere. Some Friday fun time next on Colombo and Katie.
Steph's Pizza, legendary St. Louis-style pizza and pasta. Just the name makes your mouth water. Also, for your next get-together, pick up a Steph's Party Platter. And if it's Monday, you get a large pizza for the price of a small. Steph's Pizza in St. Charles County and Chesterfield Valley. Steph's Pizza is always convenient for pickup or delivery. Check them out at stephspizza.com. Tonight's a good night for legendary Steph's Pizza.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. That's 800-281-4224.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A warehouse caught fire, and all the news TV channels were out there with their cameras, and they were getting some of those shots into the building, and it was such an intense fire, and it was kind of like in the movies when you're looking into a portal into hell.
That's what I would want to be, one of those people who controlled the drones for the TV stations.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be doing like dive bombing and stuff. I'd probably melt a few of those things.
Oh, well, you destroy them,
yeah, but it would be good video.
It'd be a great shot.
Weekday mornings, 5:30 till 9 on News Talk STL.
So with all the crazy stuff happening with the market and the economy, there's one thing that is still holding strong, and that is that it is a great time to sell your home. But with all of the things happening, it is impossible to tell how long that window is going to be open. Don't wait any longer. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway if you have been thinking about selling your home. At least call Rodney and Jen Wallner and get the information. Let them talk to you. If you think maybe, I missed my chance, I don't think that's necessarily true. Rodney and Jen can give you that information, tell you what they think they can get for your home, how fast they can sell it, and it might be something that you want to take advantage of before it's too late. Our experience with the Wallners was second to none. I cannot recommend them enough. If you're thinking about selling your home, call them now at 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Migrants flown to Martha's Vineyard from Florida are moved to a military base.
Nearly 50 migrants who were flown to Martha's Vineyard this week on the orders of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis were moved to housing on a military base on Cape Cod Friday. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker said the move would be voluntary. Baker said at Joint Base Cape Cod, the migrants will be given dormitory-style housing, food and services, and families will be given separate housing. The Florida governor and fellow Republican governors of Texas and Arizona have sent thousands of migrants on buses to New York, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. in recent months. I'm Mike Gracia.
Also at townhall.com, a veteran New York judge has been appointed to review documents seized in the FBI search of former President Trump's Florida home.
A special master has been named. On Thursday, U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon empowered Raymond Deary to serve as an independent arbiter in the investigation into classified government documents found at Mar-a-Lago in early August. She set a November 30th deadline for his work. Deary is a former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of New York and a former chief judge of the federal court based in Brooklyn. He served on the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court that authorizes wiretap applications. Although the Justice Department opposed the appointment of a special master, both the DOJ and Donald Trump's lawyers have said Deary was an acceptable choice. Jennifer King, Washington.
Republican Governor Jim Justice signing into law a ban on abortions at all stages of pregnancy. West Virginia now the second state to enact a law prohibiting procedure since the U.S. Supreme Court's June ruling to end the constitutional protection of the procedure. He called the legislation a bill that protects life. The bill has exemptions for medical emergencies and for rape and incest victims until 8 weeks of pregnancy. The Dow was down 140 points today, the NASDAQ off 103. More at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm sorry, I can't operate on that vehicle.
But doctor, you took an oath.
That RV, it's my son's RV.
Oh, doctor, isn't there anything you can do?
I'm not a miracle worker, Sheila. I'm an RV surgeon, trained to save the lives of large injured recreational vehicles, which is definitely a real profession.
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Italian police say 5 people have been arrested for smuggling migrants into Western Europe on private jets.
A ticket to Europe for up to $20,000 paid to traffickers offering people a clandestine route into Europe. The migrants, mainly of Iraqi, Iranian or Kurdish origin, boarded planes in Turkey using fake diplomatic passports. While the flights were officially destined for far-off destinations like the Caribbean, during stopovers in Europe, including France, Germany and Austria, the migrants disembarked, disposed of their passports and swiftly, systematically applied for asylum.
BBC correspondent Imogene Folks. Oktoberfest is back in Germany after a 2-year pandemic interruption. Inflation is running red hot in Germany and could approach 10% by year's end. In any case, Oktoberfest, a much-needed boost for Munich's hotels and food service industry. Breaking news at townhall.com. Thousands of nurses back at work in Minnesota hospitals following a 3-day strike.
The issues, wage increases and staffing and retention made worse by the pandemic. Some 15,000 nurses at 7 healthcare systems in the Minneapolis and Duluth areas walked off the job Monday and returned to work on Thursday. They want a more than 30% wage increase over 3 years. Hospital leaders say that amount is unaffordable, and they're offering a wage increase of 10 to 12%. The Twin Cities Hospital Group says negotiators are expected to return to talks sometime next week. I'm Donna Warner.
Uber reaching out to law enforcement after the apparent breach of its network. A social engineer said the person taking responsibility had demonstrated how they obtained access. There was no indication that Uber's fleet of vehicles or their operation was affected. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
From the NewsTalkSTL Weather Center.
News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Looking great for this Friday evening. Warm early in the low 80s, falling into the 70s. It's going to be dry, mild, and then a little warmer for Saturday. Low 67, a high of 89. Partly to mostly sunny skies. And then Sunday, a little hotter, 91. A little more humid, too. And we'll have to keep an eye out for an isolated shower storm. Best chances to the north in the morning. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Friday Fun Time on Colombo and Katie. Brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control. 636-486-7888. Or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. As I mentioned, tonight is the debut of our brand new show, Pocket Watching with JT. Going to be a whole lot of fun and part of the schedule now on every Friday from 8 to 10 p.m. Jason Thornton is a CFP. He works in the financial industry, and he has built an incredible YouTube channel with nearly 60,000 followers. He's been doing a show on YouTube for a little more than a year now. Incredibly entertaining, lots of callers, Lots of great conversation with people who agree with him and great debates with people who disagree with him. So I think it's definitely something that you are going to want to check out. And again, that debuts tonight at 8 o'clock here on News Talk STL. Make sure you are checking that out. Also, just a little bit of personal privilege. I want to promote my weekend show as well. Don't forget about the Bluff City Outdoors Show, which happens every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL. And if you ever miss that show, just like Colombo and Katie and all the other shows here on News Talk STL, you can subscribe to our podcast. So whether it be the Bluff City Outdoors Show, Colombo and Katie, make sure you are subscribed to us on your favorite podcast platform. And also don't forget about the new Colombo and Katie YouTube channel. And that goes for all the shows, all of the shows. We don't have a News Talk STL YouTube channel because of the whole thing of talking,
that thing.
Talking about COVID and elections, and that got us kicked off. So instead of a station channel, every show has their own YouTube channel. So make sure you are subscribing to those as well. Of course, you can watch our live stream every day on our YouTube channel, and we're also putting up some other fun videos. Is the Mentos video up?
It's up.
So you can see my son James doing his Mentos challenge, dropping Mentos into the 2-liter sodas. Lots of fun. We had a great, speaking of Bluff City Outdoors, we were out at the Alton Catfish Classic last weekend, and a great video from there as well. So make sure you're checking that out. All right, going to get into some Friday fun time before we hand things over to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show here in just a few minutes at 3:30. One more story here before we go full-blown Friday fun time, but I think this one is super interesting. Katie, I know that you particularly monitor Karine Jean-Pierre and have a little bit of a fascination with how she has
her inability to be the press secretary.
Yeah, she has a job that she every day seems to be so unqualified to hold,
bad.
Right? It's incredible. Well, check this out. This is going to boil your blood.
Oh, gosh.
Nearly every major fact checker has completely ignored Karine Jean-Pierre since she took over for Jen Psaki.
Wow.
Listen to this. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has remained largely unscathed from the fact-checking crowd since taking over the podium for Jen Psaki, with nearly every major fact-checker largely ignoring the new face of the Biden administration. Since starting her position on May 13th, listen to this, Jean-Pierre has received no fact checks from factcheck.org, Reuters, the Associated Press, the Washington Post's Glenn Kessler, and CNN's Daniel Dale. Those two people especially known for being fact checkers with those two organizations. Snopes and PolitiFact are the only two organizations that have ever done any type of a fact check on any comment
that is
made
wild.
By Karine Jean-Pierre. And PolitiFact has only done it twice. They've pulled out two different since May. They've two different statements she has made. They've labeled as false, and Snopes only did it once.
That is so
since
wild.
May. And those two organizations and those three instances are the only time in mainstream media, all these groups, I mean, factcheck.org. That's what they do. Factcheck.org, Reuters, the Associated Press, Glenn Kessler with the Washington Post, Daniel Dale with CNN, all
None of them
known for fact-checking, have totally ignored Karine Jean-Pierre since she took the podium.
We have always had issues with fact checkers. Like, just even the name of fact checker, the elitist dripping from a fact checker, and just the arrogance that you have to take upon yourself to have a title like that. It reminds me of someone that you meet that's like, you say something, and after you're done saying something, they always say, actually. Actually, oh gosh, that's what a fact checker is to me. Always had issues with that. I think every conservative or anyone that would say that they're conservative or libertarian have always had issues with fact checkers because the real question is, who are they? What's their credentials to be a fact checker? But to not fact check Karine Jean-Pierre, out of all people, I mean,
like the press secretary. You'd think if your job was to fact check, like the news, you'd think that the press secretary, the White House press secretary, would always be at the top of your list.
This would be the person. And to know that she is not equipped for this job, to watch her every single day and understand she cannot handle this. She should have never been elected for this position. She should have never had this position to begin with. And then to be so biased that you can't even watch something like that and say, these are the things that she has done wrong, that she has said wrong, that are clearly misleading. Don't come at me at midterm elections. Don't come at me during a presidential election then with your fact checker BS and think that anyone is going to believe you. Like, I don't want to see fact checker says during elections then. I don't want to see our fact checkers think this and have it littered on the homepage of your website, thinking that that gives you any credit with the American people during the presidential election. If you can't even do a simple job like looking at the press secretary and saying, dang, this woman has not said one truthful thing for an hour straight.
Yeah.
When she's speaking to the press.
Can you be a credible fact checker if you so obviously pick and choose who you're going to fact check? No, right?
This is, Tony, you just nailed it. Mwah. You just nailed it. Can you say, if facts, as Ben Shapiro says, don't care about your feelings. Facts are unbiased, unpartisan, nonpartisan things. And can you be a fact checker if you are so heavily for one side and not the other? No. You can't.
No. It doesn't surprise me, but I'm so glad that somebody did the work, the research to put out this report, because when you see it, when you read it, you see it in black and white, it just really drives the point home. Fact-checking became like sport, it seemed like, over COVID.
What's his name?
Like, it just became, and recent elections, like,
yes,
like the second a debate would end,
Chris
there'd be like
Steinwall.
all these, like, well, fact check this, fact check that, like, was this true? So-and-so said this in the debate tonight. Is that true? Like, fact checking became like
a sport.
A
You
sport.
are totally
it was
right.
everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And now, when we have, Karine Jean-Pierre stand up there every day saying that the border is secure, while there's video playing of people walking,
Zip-lining
just
over
walking
the
across
wall.
the border, with, not a care in the world. There's nobody. Where's the fact checker?
Where's the person saying actually then?
Yeah, where's the actually guy then?
Where are they?
Yeah, pretty unbelievable. Also, here's a headline for you. Friday fun time on Colombo and Katie. Pat Sajak has revealed that he may leave the Wheel of Fortune soon, saying, quote, "The end is near."
No, I love Pat.
Pat Sajak may be stepping down as the host of Wheel of Fortune. The game show host of more than 40 years said the end is near, as he hinted he's ready for one last spin, according to Entertainment Tonight. Quote, "Years go by fast. We're getting near the end. It's been a long time. We're not going to do this for another 40 years. The end is near. It's an honor to have been in people's living rooms for that long. People were out there welcoming us. We're happy and proud." Wheel of Fortune premiered on television in 1975. Pat Sajak started hosting in 1981.
Wow.
Vanna White joined him in 1982. Incredible. I have a real question. I'm very serious. Does Pat Sajak have the greatest
Best gig in the world.
life/job in the history of the human race?
Second to Vanna. Second to Vanna White has the best job.
Can you think of a better
in the entire
gig?
world?
And I'm not trying to take anything away from Pat Sajak.
No.
At all. I'm
He
just
hit the
saying,
jackpot.
holy moly.
You know, whenever you watch him, though, you can tell. Now, I'm not like Mark Close with Wheel of Fortune or anything like that. It's not like something that's like pre-programmed into my, that I'm DVRing. But when you do see clips of Pat Sajak now on Wheel of Fortune, you can see he's getting testy. You can see that he's
I like
getting-
that version of Pat.
Me too. I do too. But you can see that he is just nearing the top of boiling point with the stupidity and with people not getting it and people not understanding his jokes. So when you say that he is going to leave, I'm like, I hate that because he is Wheel of Fortune to me. I don't know anyone that could take his place. It's just like Trebek. Those are hard shoes to fill. But when you look at Pat and you see him with some of these contestants and the eye rolling and the facial expressions or the snarky comebacks he has for some, the leash is short right now.
And there is, to me, one of the, like, it will always be funny. Like, it's a cheap laugh that you'll always get me is on like a game show blooper like that.
Oh, yeah.
When, like, it's so obvious and nobody's getting it, and they're
he's just
saying
like-
the wrong things.
Yes.
And it just like, whenever there's like one of those, like, just total game show bloopers.
It's the
Those
best.
clips, I love them.
And it's more out of like jealousy that he and Vanna tape 10 of those shows a day and then go chill.
So here's what I'm thinking.
What are we doing?
Dude,
Tell us.
I hope Jeff's not listening to Joe.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
If Pat and Vanna are going to retire.
If they do the dip,
dude,
let's audition.
Colombo and Katie.
Oh, that's good.
Listen to me. Here's the twist.
That's good.
Here's the twist. Here's where we stand out in this woke world of ours.
What we doing?
Colombo and Katie say, we'll take over for Pat and Vanna, but I'll do the letters and you do the hosting. It's going to blow people's minds.
That's true.
They're just going to assume,
Reverse.
oh, Tony's going to be the game show host. And no, that's where we hit him with the dipsy-do.
1-2 punch.
And we, in a world like today,
we switch it.
The guy is the letter flipper and you're the host.
That's a good call. That's another thing about...
Get our resumes ready.
I love it. That's another thing about Pat Sajak, too. That Twitter of his. I'm surprised
Really?
it doesn't get it. Oh, my goodness.
Now, are you too young to remember when he tried to become a talk show host?
Yes.
He tried to become Johnny Carson?
I don't have any recollection.
No, he tried 30 years ago to like be an evening, nighttime, Tonight Show type talk show host.
And he wasn't successful?
No, it didn't work.
Wow, I guess it just doesn't translate.
I think people just like, he's Pat Sajak from the Wheel of Fortune. Even then.
His Twitter is
I had
hilarious.
Nintendo games when I was a little kid in the 80s. I had for the Nintendo, I had Wheel of Fortune games.
I had Game
Pat
Boy.
Sajak was the he was the host then.
It's him. And I mean, why would you want to switch it up now? You're making a lot of money. Just like right off to the sunset.
Well,
bro.
he just retired. I mean, he's got it though.
Yeah,
like
he's
why
got
even
it.
work? Even though they don't work necessarily, like you said, they tape a bunch of episodes at a time. So, but yeah, if he's ready to go,
Let's do it.
Get our resumes
I'll
ready,
update them right now.
dude. Let's do
Pronto.
it. If you're watching on the videos, I'm gonna show you a picture of this in a minute because it's as ridiculous as it sounds. Technology's coming a long way, right? We're doing a lot of cool things with technology, and a lot of it I think is very helpful and beneficial.
Yeah.
I cut the grass or do chores around the house with wireless headphones in, listening to podcasts, taking advantage of technology all the time.
Making calls with your watch.
Yes, exactly. Great point. This one, not sure about.
Okay.
A new Bluetooth mouthpiece straps to your face and muffles your voice so you don't conduct loud phone calls in public.
That seems ridiculous.
A company in Japan has a new Bluetooth mouthpiece that straps to your face over and around your mouth and muffles your voice for phone calls in public. It's called the MuTalk, which is a mashup of mute and talk. MuTalk. And it's for loud talkers who can't keep their voice down when they make calls. They are very bulky, and they picture like like when you see somebody like wearing virtual reality glass.
Goggles, yeah.
Just think of that, but around your mouth.
That is the stupidest
instead of
thing
your
I've
eyes.
heard in my life.
That's how big and bulky they are.
That is the dumbest thing.
It takes an elastic strap to keep it in place if you want to use it hands-free. When it's on your face, it creates an air pressure pocket that prevents sound from escaping through the air hole. They say it lowers the volume of your voice by 20 decibels or 30 decibels for really loud talkers. So if you are sitting next to someone in the car or the bus or in your Uber or you're shopping or you're standing in line somewhere and it's very crowded, you can have your conversation on the phone without disturbing the people around you. They're going to start shipping and be available starting in November or December and cost around $140. Here's the picture for people that are watching on the live on this cameras.
That is so
Look at that
dumb.
thing.
That is the stupidest thing I have ever seen in my life. We're having debates over people wearing cloth masks, and now we're trying to implement this thing.
We're trying too hard with technology.
We
now.
are trying way too hard. And we're also creating this world of like self-centered behavior. When you're riding a public transportation, when you're riding the Metrolink, if you still do that, or if you're going somewhere in New York and you're riding the subway, and you're so bothered by someone taking a phone call out in public that it's just like eating you alive, get over it.
Or
get over yourself.
if you're self-aware enough to know that you're a loud talker and would maybe need one of these, aren't you aware enough to like just turn the volume down?
Or just say, "Can I call you back?"
Yeah.
It's just we're creating this world where like isolating ourselves even more from other people and becoming these really selfish, self-centered human beings is going to be something that's very normal soon. I don't like that idea.
Last one, Forbes just released the results of a survey they conducted on road rage. The state with the most confrontational drivers in the United States is Utah. Missouri is second.
I believe that.
How about that?
I believe that. Go on 70 and you know all about it. I believe that to my core, and that makes sense.
Missouri is the second most confrontational drivers in the United States.
People,
take it easy out there, people.
People are not playing.
Relax.
And you know what?
Strap on your Bluetooth mouthpiece and take a chill pill.
Hang out. Take your Xanax, strap on your Bluetooth mouthpiece.
And relax.
I believe that.
Yeah, unbelievable. All right. Time to hand things over to the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. They will take you through the rest of your Friday afternoon and get you to the weekend. Don't forget about Pocket Watching tonight at 8 o'clock. Brand new show debuting here at News Talk STL. If you missed anything from Colombo and Katie this week, just subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform and or subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Colombo and Katie YouTube channel. Tim and Chris coming in now. Enjoy your weekend. Colombo and Katie back Monday at 2. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Fox News commentary.
TV ratings for the Emmys dropped to a new all-time low. You know what they say, go woke, go broke. I'm Tommy Lahren, more next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Booth for Bishop Gold Group. Are you worried about your financial future as retirement gets closer? All over the country, soon-to-be retirees are fearing for their financial future as markets remain volatile. Bishop Gold Group helps you invest in gold and gold IRAs to protect your wealth and retirement during times of high inflation and wild swings in the market. Secure your future today. Contact Bishop Gold Group by dialing pound 250 from a mobile phone and say the keyword Bishop Gold, or visit bishopgoldgroup.com.
American doesn't want to watch whiny, overpaid Hollywood liberals grandstand at award shows anymore, and it shows. NBC's 74th Primetime Emmy Award show averaged under 6 million viewers, a new low for a broadcast that has been steadily dropping to new lows over the last 4 years. Meanwhile, the Monday Night Football simulcast on the same night was up 17% from last year's franchise opener, the biggest cumulative audience since 2009. So people are watching TV, they just aren't watching award shows. Sports, like entertainment, has gone woke in many ways, but due to the constraints of playing an actual game, even whiny athletes aren't able to showboat their politics during the event. But the same is not so for these award shows, where simple thank you acceptance speeches have become soapbox moments for celebrities to grandstand and virtue signal. The proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the ratings. Go woke, go broke, and unwatched. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can listen to all of my hot takes at foxnewscommentary.com.
This is what's happening.
The rich will continue to be rich, and the poor will continue to get poor.
California's electrical grid is already terribly overburdened today.
News, analysis, opinion.
It's cool to be woke until it's not.
This is News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. All Solutions is the pest control company Christine and I trust with our home because they don't cut corners and they take the time and use the best product available to help protect your home at the highest level possible. Call All Solutions Pest Control today at 636-486-7888 and learn more about our special $67 introductory offer, or visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A warehouse caught fire, and all the news TV channels were out there with their cameras, and they were getting some of those shots into the building, and it was such an intense fire, and it was kind of like in the movies when you're looking into a portal into hell.
That's what I would want to be, one of those people who controlled the drones for the TV station.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be doing like dive bombing and stuff. I'd probably melt a few of those things.
Oh, well, you'd destroy them,
yeah. Yeah, but it would be good video.
It'd be a great shot.
Weekday mornings, 5:30 till 9 on News Talk STL.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline